Yeah, my dad's he's the inventor of the concept of using air pressure to unload somebody or load somebody to alter and control their body weight. He was stationed at NASA when he came up with this idea. Basically what they were looking at was counteracting the deterioration of your musculoskeletal system when you're an astronaut up in space and you're floating around. Right, so you're up there, your body's not used to basically the forces that are acting on you because of gravity. So when these guys come back from space, they've atrophied both their bones, so they start developing like osteoporosis, and their muscles are they'll just be really weak. So the idea of using air pressure was really to do the opposite of what we do. Instead of pumping air in, you pull a vacuum, right? And you'd increase body weight and simulate 1G up in space. So give astronauts a way to exercise and stay acclimated to an Earth environment while they were, floating around up there. Yeah, the idea it came from thinking about something unrelated to rehab or sports for that matter. But the application was clearly there for this. So the way the company started was when I was finishing, I was entering the co-term program in MSc. So I was a mechanical engineering undergrad, did a co-term in MSc. And the track that I took was entrepreneurship because that was interesting to me. And I basically asked my dad if myself and a couple other friends they're not here anymore, but if we could start a company or just see what it was like to build a business around this concept. So part of that was, the first part of that is you have to build a business plan and figure out your strategy of how you're going to grow and sell this thing out in the market. And we decided to start in sports. And so that we always kind of knew there was this major application for rehab, not just rehab, but geriatrics, so older, people that are getting older that can't exercise, but they really should. We knew there was a lot of application there, but sports was the easy place to start for a lot of reasons. And probably the biggest one was it's easy for them to justify the high price tag of the product because they pay their guys so much. Yeah. So to get them healthy faster is a no-brainer. And to improve their performance in the case of Alberta's runners is a no-brainer. So it was just a natural place for us to start, and the benefits that we got out of it were that they do a lot of rehab with it. So we got this kind of benefit of guys using it for rehab in athletics, and we could use that to go into medical, a medical environment and say, well, here, you're not treating professional athletes, but the injuries are similar, and kind of a way of bridging that gap. In athletics, again, they have a lot of money, and they're willing to pay, if the results are there. So that's not the case in rehab at all. They don't have a lot of money, and they're very careful with what they spend it on. So our biggest difference between the products is the price. That was our major goal with the redesign, was to make it cheaper so that we could still make a profit on it, but we could offer it to a much broader audience, so we have a lot more customers. And performance-wise, the biggest difference is probably the treadmill. The first product has a Woodway treadmill, which is the top treadmill that you can buy out there. It's got a really nice running surface. It lasts a really long time. It's got really good speed control. It's basically just the performance machine. It goes really fast too. So that's probably the biggest difference. We've got a lower cost treadmill. The environment's not going to be as demanding. They're not going to be going as fast. Typical. I think the average speed in a health club, not even a rehab center, but in a health club is like 4 miles an hour or 4.5 miles an hour. So in a rehab center, it's even lower than that. The environment is totally different for the use. So the treadmill that we got is a rehab treadmill. It gets the highest, marks in the U.S. of any rehab treadmill, but it's not really meant to hold up to an athletics environment where you have big, heavy people, not runners, but like football players and basketball players and stuff. It's not meant to hold up to that kind of abuse day in and day out, whereas the woodway is. So the biggest obstacle I think that we've had to do is figure out how to integrate all this stuff. Blower, pressure control, a treadmill, a touch screen stuff. We have to integrate all that into a single package that is intuitive, easy to use, reliable, and cheap. Inside of that, making it easy to use and user-friendly is probably the biggest of them all. Mm-hmm. Because you get, if you go out, and we did this with those units, we put them at a variety of different places to get feedback. So if you go out and ask people what you want, you're going to get like 100 different wants from various ranges. And if you ask people in the company what they think it should have, you're going to get another 100 different things. So you have to distill and try to find the commonalities between function and aesthetics and all this stuff. So that was probably the trickiest part, is striking the right balance between all that, between adding function in there but still making it so it wasn't overwhelming to a user, that you could just walk up and use the machine. The other really big challenges were, I would say, figuring out how to make it a good experience ergonomically, so you're not running in and tailoring the fabric to the right and figuring out how to constrain it to the right shape so that you weren't smacking your arms into the fabric or into that metal bar. Or we had problems early on with Alberto's guys, where they have these really long leg kicks and they'd hit the back of the bag or they'd hit the top of the bag. So just getting through all of that took a long time and a lot of iterations. Our vision, not just myself but of the company, is that we're gonna change the way that people do rehab. We're gonna open up the range of potential ways that people can treat their patients to basically improve speed of recovery and the quality of the outcome. So that's I think what we're trying to do in a nutshell. The challenges with that is we have to educate people on how to do that, because they've never done it before. They know about it, right? Everybody knows that you can get in a pool and do deep water running or something like this, but they've never done it because they don't have access to that equipment with their patients. So we have to educate them on how to use our product with their patient population to be able to get the most benefit for everybody. So that's rehab, but I mentioned earlier geriatrics and improving the quality of life for elderly people that they may be able to walk around, but they have arthritis or something like that. So they haven't run in X number of years, but they would love to run, and it's good for them to run. They need to stay healthy. So allowing those people to be able to exercise and improve or maintain a certain level of mobility, agility, balance, this kind of thing, is going to be really important, I think, for a lot of our parents, basically, as they start to get old. I think that may end up being the place where we have the most impact overall, just because of the way the population is going.